All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the San Antonio Playoffs Media Day. So happy to have you all here. We're going to kick things off with Chris Wade. So if you have a question, please raise your hand. And Jonathan, let's go ahead and get started with you.
Jonathan Ramlakan, 5 Reasons Sports. How you doing, Chris?
Hey, what's up, John?
Oh, doing well, doing well. Let's get right into it. You obviously got the call to be a replacement for this one. During that time period before you got that call, were you staying training, getting ready, kind of maybe anticipating this is something that can happen?
Yeah, I've been training since I got back from the last fight. I was really healthy coming out of the last fight, and I've been the alternate before, and I've handled it all different ways. I've undertrained, I've trained hard, and I just figured don't put yourself in a position where you're not ready to go if they call you, because we were so close. I was out on like a tiebreaker, so I just figured let's get after it. No reason not to.
Now, with that having to come in and stay ready, obviously you've been to the playoffs before, you faced adversity before. How is that adversity going to allow you to maybe push through and break through in this championship playoff series?
Yeah, I mean, I think I could argue that all of my trials that I've been through in my whole career have led me to this point. I think that's why I'm here. I think this goes beyond just a little bit of like, oh, you're in. I think destiny and fate and hard work, it's all a weird intertwined thing, and I don't think that this is just coincidence. So I think it all plays, all of it.
Getting the flowers for your hard work. I appreciate your time, my man, and good luck in your fight.
All right, thanks, John.
Patrick.
Hey, Chris, this is Penn McCoy from Combat Sports UK. So, obviously, you're the fill-in for Mobley. And was there a sense of relief when you got the call that you would be the alternate after the way your season ended? As some would say, it was a heartbreaking end to the season.
I mean, yeah, it feels right. It feels like I'm supposed to be in the playoffs, right? I mean, I have the same amount of points as the other guy. It's just like this sequence of tiebreakers that they use to decide who's the fourth person. Um, I feel that it's tough regardless to be having two fights and then four people make the playoffs. So it just feels right, like I was saying in that first segment.
And let's talk about the Braga matchup. He's coming off a very impressive win over the highly talented Marlon Moraes. Where do you see your advantages lying in this matchup?
I mean, nothing taking nothing away from Marlon. He's a legend of the sport, but he's not the same guy that he was that we watched in the UFC all those years and coming up. He was a different guy toward the end, and that's part of why he hung it up there at the end. Respect to him, but my experience comes almost my advantage is almost everywhere in the cage. He's a very good technical striker, but he has a third of the professional fights that I have, a fraction of the experience on the ground or against a cage. So I think that the majority of the advantage lies with me.
And if you were to win this match, obviously you'd be in the final. And a matchup I'm sure interests you would be the Bubba Jenkins trilogy bout. What do you think about that one? What do you think about his fight with Jesus Pinedo?
I mean, man, listen, as much as they want that to be the case, I really don't give a shit about that guy. I don't think he's a good person. I think his ego's massive. And I don't respect that as a wrestler. This is coming from the mouth of another high level wrestler. You're supposed to be more humble and than what he is, considering what he's accomplished in this sport, which isn't very much. Uh, I really, so I don't look forward to like, oh yeah, I want him to win so we can have a trilogy. Like I really don't. I don't care if he slips. outside and you tell me he's out tomorrow, that's just how I feel about the guy.
Well, thank you so much and good luck this weekend.
Thanks.
Gavin.
Hi, Chris. So you're facing Gabriel Braga, who's unbeaten. What makes you think you can be the first man to beat him?
I mean, what most of his fights are not at a very high level. He was a fill-in this year, and even though he's got a lot of talent and he will be a great fighter, most of his career, he's on his way up. I mean, just because you're undefeated doesn't mean that you're going to remain undefeated in this sport. That's not how it works here.
Okay, thanks for your time. Good luck your fight.
Thanks.
All right, Jake.
Hey, Chris, great to talk to you. Jake Noaker from the Scrap News. Just going back to that call when you got the call back into the playoffs, where were you when you got the call and what was your immediate reaction?
I was at my house. I was actually at my house with my daughter. Ray called me. I missed the call. We were somewhere, and then he texted me like, "Hey, brother, I need to talk to you. Call me back." So I called him back, and he's like, "Hey, have you been training?" And I was like, "Yeah," because the last time he called me, he was asking me if I had a guy possibly to fight on one of the upcoming New York cards. So I thought he was calling me back in regard to that, and I was really surprised that that it was to tell me that I was filling in, and especially in this situation.
And I know now that we're in the playoffs, the point system doesn't necessarily matter anymore, but do you feel a need to go in there and do something a little extra, prove something because, you weren't originally in the playoffs?
Again, no, it's about getting your hand raised, and it was semantics why I wasn't in the playoffs, right? I mean, how many points do I have, and how many points does Pineda have?
The same, I believe, 6.
Right. So, I mean, what are we talking about? It's kind of like, they just have to figure out who's going to advance. So they're picking tiebreakers. So, I mean, a lot of people are acting like, are you surprised this? And listen, man, I've been here 5 times. I've been knocking at the door. I've been in the finals. I've probably the first year should have taken the whole thing down with that whole Schultz situation. So I just feel like I've been putting the work in, and it's my time, man. It's fate.
And then last one for me, with how involved you are with your gym, Long Island MMA, and all the experience you just mentioned in MMA and PFL, how many more seasons do you think we can see you in the Smart Cage?
I mean, listen, man, do I look like I'm my age? I feel like I don't. I feel like I don't look or function like I'm the age that I am. So I'm still a very competitive guy. I feel very youthful. I still have a spirit to fight. And I'm not in a mindset of like, I'm done with this. I'm done with this fighting thing. I still love to get in there and compete. So that as long as the PFL wants to have a savvy vet around and a guy that's always making runs at titles, then let's do it.
Thanks so much, Chris.
Thank you.
Jay Christian.
Good afternoon, Long Island Killer. Chris Gary,
What's up?
Focus Fights Audio, man. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing all right, but still though, I got a couple of questions if that's okay. I know that you basically saying you don't want to fight Bubba Jenkins because I know that y'all got a historically bad feud against one another. Y'all just hate each other. But let's just say when it comes down to that upcoming fight, obviously it's the main event, Jenkins versus Pineda. Let's just say if you end up facing Jesus Pineda in the final, would that be a better fight for you than a fight against Jenkins?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, it's going to depend. Like, how does that fight shake out? That's going to kind of show, because Pineda is a newer entity to the league. So his style is a little wild. He's got throws a lot of volume, and he's just a goer. So but he's got length and he's dangerous. So it's weird. It's hard to say stylistically, right? I mean, the first time I fought Bubba, we have a similar style, but I shut him down every which way. Second time, he shut me down. So it really comes down to like, this is like every other sport, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You have teams that are tough matchups for each other, and they play in playoff series, and the series run deep sometimes, and each night's a different night. So we'll see how that fight shakes out.
Understood. And I know that, as has been mentioned by a few of the assembled masses here, that it's hard to get into the PFL playoffs. I mean, you came in on probably one of the weirdest tiebreakers in the history of fight sports tournaments. But do you feel that with you coming in as a late notice replacement, you're going to probably have to turn the adrenaline up to 11 against Gabriel Braga?
No. I mean, I'm a veteran of the sport. I'm here to fight. I know how to fight, and I've been training a full camp. So I'm here. This isn't like your traditional replacement situation like you would see in the UFC, where a guy was sitting on the couch. I was in the gym every day, multiple times a day. I'm arguably, because we're getting into the groove of the season, I'm in a better spot than I was even in the first fight or the second fight, as far as my conditioning, where my mindset is at. I know I'm in a better place. So this is a dangerous position. I see it for the other guys.
I see. I mean, other than that, I just hope that you do well. And, if it is against Bubba Jenkins in the finals, man, I can only hope that'll be epic. Well, either way, I just hope you continue to do well, Chris. It's been fun talking with you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
No problem.
All right, Dylan, and last question for Chris, please.
Sure. So first one is, do you believe that your experience will be a determining factor in this upcoming fight?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. And sorry, I forgot to introduce myself with the last. I wanted to finish up with the last question there, but Dylan Napoleon, New England MMA. Sorry. What's it mean to you to represent Long Island and be called the Long Island Killer?
Well, it means a lot to represent Long Island, just because I love where I'm from. I love that's where my family is. That's where a lot of my friends are. I love our way of life, our people. So I'm very proud to be from there. With that being said, the nickname, I didn't make that nickname up. So that was kind of given to me here through the PFL, and it is what it is. But anything Long Island I love. So yeah, I'll take it.